All right, savvy social workers. Today's question is going to be a first question, and so we're just going to get right into it. A 25-year-old woman is seeking services because she has been feeling depressed for the past 2 years. The client is diagnosed with lupus, but she states that she has been taking care of herself and have not had any issues in a while. She reports feeling exhausted and has no desire to engage in any leisure activities. She also reports that she has been having unexplained joint pain lately. What should the social worker do first? So, just out the gate, paying attention to the fact that this is a first question that lets me know that I want to do the most important thing. Again, I don't teach putting them in order, not saying that you don't, because you always want to consider approaching the situation with sequence, yet sitting there trying to, put the the answer choices in a certain order. To me, that just takes up a little bit more time as well as contribute to your anxiety. So with first questions, I teach that we're just primarily worried about the most important thing, because again, I'm all about simplification and whatever is going to be the easiest way to get you where you need to be. Okay, so now jumping into this scenario, it tells me that this woman is seeking services. So this lets me know that this is most likely going to be in the beginning phases of the helping process because she is seeking services. So in the beginning, we know that we are going to be trying to engage and build rapport with this client and gather as much information about her priority issue and the rest of her problems as possible. Okay, so she is seeking these services because she's been feeling depressed for the past 2 years. That is going to be my presenting problem. The why the client is there. She's there because she's been feeling depressed for the past 2 years. The client is diagnosed with lupus, but she says that she has been taking care of herself and have not had any issues for a while. So I'm underlining that because that is noteworthy. She reports feeling exhausted and has no desire to engage in any leisure activities. She also reports that she has been having unexplained joint pain lately. So of course, all of this sounds very important, but I underline this because I want you to be able to distinguish between what is going to be the priority issue here, which means out of everything that we have underlined, what is going to take precedence in this scenario. So is it the fact that she was diagnosed with lupus but she's saying that that's taken care of? That is important to note, of course, but so that doesn't seem like it's going to be the priority if she's possibly saying that it's okay. The fact that she reports how she's feeling is definitely going to be a priority issue in the present moment. So the fact that she reports feeling exhausted with no desire for any leisure activities is definitely going to be important to pay attention to. Also, whenever I teach that if it says she also, that means that should be included in whatever was before it. So we're also going to highlight this as well, that she reports that she has been having unexplained joint pain lately. So now the question is asking us, in this beginning phase of the helping process, what is going to be the most important thing that we need to do, considering the situation that this lady is having. She's been experiencing depression for the past 2 years. She's diagnosed with lupus, but currently she's feeling exhausted with no desire to engage, and she reports having this unexplained joint pain. Okay, so remember, we want to consider the situation but focus in on the priority issue. So would the first and most important thing be to begin talking about any links between the grief associated with lupus and her depression? Is this going to address the fact that she is feeling exhausted with no desire to change, and with no desire to engage in any leisure activities and having joint pain? It is not, so it's not going to be the most important thing. So we're going to eliminate A right out the gate. B, recommend she talk to her doctor about her symptoms, considering that she has lupus. Well, the fact that she's feeling exhausted and all of this stuff, that might be something that we want to have her doctor checked out, especially considering that she has lupus, which, y'all, is a medical issue. And we know that one of the golden rules of social work is that we first rule out any medical issues before we intervene on any of the mental health issues. So that is very plausible. Option C: would the most important thing for us to do be to provide behavioral strategies that the client can use to address her depressive symptoms? So if we're focusing on the fact that she is possibly depressed, and she says she's been feeling depressed for the past 2 years, and it's because of these symptoms, her feeling exhausted, no desire to engage, and all of that, would we focus on the depression first or the lupus first? Well, just like I stated a minute ago, we always want to make sure that her depression is not being caused by her lupus symptoms. And just knowing about lupus, that depression is one of the symptoms of lupus. It is exacerbated by it. So definitely we want to go ahead and get her looked at by a doctor first before we start, trying to implement these behavioral strategies. And it could be something physical going on. In here it did say that she's been taking care of herself. She has not had any issues in a while, but we know that lupus also is very sporadic. So definitely just going to get her checked out first would be the most important thing. Like I said, lupus problems have been linked to depression. Since the client reports that she has a diagnosis and a history of lupus problems, it is important to recommend that she has her blood levels tested prior to beginning the mental health services. And remember, because she is seeking services, okay, it does not say that she's already a client. Make sure you pay attention to that. And this is the case because she may be experiencing a medical issue contributing to that depression. So hopefully this is clear as of why you would want to first recommend that she talk to her doctor and say, let's get that squared away first. Okay, so here's another little lanyard question that I am just going to throw in just to give you some practice on another very important topic that's on the exam. So simply put, which of the following disorders carries the least risk for suicide? So this is just basically testing your knowledge on suicide assessment, knowing the risk, the signs and symptoms, as well as knowing the diagnosis that can contribute to that. So this is asking you for the least risk. Which one carries the least risk of committing suicide? Is it schizophrenia, dementia, bipolar 1, and bipolar 2? Okay, so although all these are associated with an elevated risk of suicide, keep in mind that the question is asking which one is the least risk. So certain ones will carry them remarkably high, okay, and some of them won't. And I'm speaking, when I say them, I mean the risk. People with mood disorders, schizophrenia, and alcohol dependence are especially at risk, and comorbidity increases the risk of suicide. Dementia, organic mental disorders, and intellectual disability carry the lowest risk for suicide. So in this case, the answer would definitely be B, which has the least risk. Because again, people with mood disorders such as schizophrenia and bipolar 1 and 2, they are definitely at a higher risk because of comorbidity.